just doesn't get any better than this. So this week I'm back in the Lake District and I'm quite excited about this really. I've got a challenge that I set up with a photographer, Steven Hanna. You've probably seen his YouTube channel, and his photos on the Irish coastline are really amazing, and I think he's just recently published a book as well. So we've come up with a challenge. We both got Fuji XT2s, which is just an amazing camera, and we've decided that we're going to try and do something with these cameras and our 35mm lenses. So we've got our XT2 35mm lens, which is a sort of equivalent to a 50mm on a full frame, and we're allowed just 24 exposures, and the subject's got to be trees. So I've come to Home Fell in the Lake District, and there's trees everywhere. Now I think from communication with Steve that he's struggling because there's not a lot of trees where he is, which is a bit unfair I think, but I'm looking to try and get some amazing photos of the trees around Home Fell and the autumn colours. Hopefully all the hurricanes we've had, or the storms that we've had recently won't have blown the leaves off. Just with restricting myself just to a 35mm lens and just 24 exposures, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to have to really think about my shot and really go back to what it was like in film days really, and I think that should help me get better compositions, so I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, let's go. Okay, so I found my first exposure. The sun has finally come out and you can see the dark clouds there. Just everything just looks spectacular at the moment. But I found this tree here just on the side of the lake, and there's two more trees on the other side of the lake that are reflecting really well. So I've set my camera up just over here. I've set my camera up here. If you can just see down here, what I've got is the trunk of this silver birch here, and then these two other trees over there, and it looks fantastic. Now the sun's just got to stay out. I'm just going to grab this exposure really quickly. Here we go. Fantastic. Okay, on to the next one. Now I'm going to do some that are on the tripod, but actually because I'm in the middle of the day I can hand hold them, so I'm going to do some handheld as well. What a gorgeous place. Okay, I found exposure number 3. So it's a tree with just a few leaves just at the top of it, and then there's the gorgeous silver birch, silver bark that's just reflecting the sunlight that's going to come through any minute now. And it just looks absolutely fantastic over here. So you can see the light on the fells in the background, and it's really great. So what you can see on my camera is I've got it in vertical portrait mode. I've got it on f5.6. In fact, all my shots are probably going to be around f5.6, 35mm lens on my XT2. So all I've got to do now is wait for the sun to come on this tree and grab my third exposure. Still waiting. It's coming, you can see it. It's coming this way. It's definitely coming this way. It's so windy today, I didn't think there was going to be any wind. Okay, here it comes. Oh, it just looks absolutely fantastic. And I'm just slightly underexposing it by just 1 or 2 stops. Now I'm going to take 2 of this. I'm going to use 2 exposures up. So that's 2, that's number 4, exposure number 4, and the sun's gone. Okay, just taking exposure number 5. I took it quickly because I thought the sun might go in. So I'm looking back at this little lake here. I think it's created from the quarry, but there's a tree here now. Ideally, I'd be right up there to try and get the tree in the lake, so trying to compose it in the lake. Okay, this is number 9. It's the same tree that I had when I was over there, but I've just come to the side. The sun's on it. I'm just going to do it handheld and have a vertical composition. It looks absolutely amazing. Now the other thing to remember when you're taking shots like this is, we don't want to get the blue sky in that you can see right up there. It's all about drama, this, because the clouds are going past really fast. It just looks absolutely amazing. So I want to try and get a composition where I get quite a lot of foreground and this amazing brown bracken, and then I've got to the left of it some different coloured autumn trees, and that creates such a nice vertical composition. So one thing that you need to be really careful about when you're taking fewer photos is you've got to really think about that composition rather than just snap, snap, snap. And that really concentrates the mind, because if you think about it, if you just go and you see something nice, you think, oh, the sun's come out, I'm going to take it really quickly, then you might get a good shot, but you may end up taking 10 shots and not think, okay, I'm going to get this shot in a minute, but I'm not going to take it now. I'm going to wait for maybe the next 30 minutes here until the sun comes again, and whilst the sun's gone away, and in those 30 minutes, I'm going to compose it so that when I do get that good sun, I'm going to get an amazing shot. Okay, I've been searching quite a lot now to try and get something that's just not just a tree, but some foreground interest as well. And I've found this, is it a tarn? I'm going to call it a tarn. It's a tiny puddle tarn, and you can see that the tree's just lit up. In fact, I've been waiting for this light for a long time. So this, I've taken 3 shots already. This is exposure number 13. So I've got one tree just on top there that just looks really good, and then I've got a bunch of trees just to the left of it, a little bit lower down. And that one tree on the top is reflected in the tarn down here. Now, what I'm doing is I'm focusing on the trees in the background, and I've got it on F11 to try and get everything in focus. But just go a bit closer, you can just see that these reeds are moving quite a lot. So I've got to be really careful with these reeds. But I'm not bothered about that, because if they are blurred from the wind, then that creates, it sort of reflects some of the mood of today, really. And the clouds are good in the background. I've got some decent clouds. If I'm really honest, I think I need to, the light's getting, it's midday now and the light's getting a little bit too harsh. But in the winter, you can get away with that a little bit. You can get away more with shooting throughout the day. But with some really nice side light, I think this would be a really stunning scene. Okay, so again, I can just hand hold this one. So I'm trying to get these 3 trees that you can see here just at the base, and then Harrison Stickle is in the distance and pavey arc you can see as well from the Langdales, and I think the 35mm lens is perfect for this. So I'm going to handheld it, hold it again. It's on ISO 200, which is completely fine. It's all about the positioning of these 3 trees here. So just going to try and get those perfectly positioned, and just need to move around a little bit here. And there's my next exposure. So maybe this is something that you can try. You know, just stick to one lens on your camera. 35mm on a mirrorless camera. Crop camera is good because it's about the sort of nifty 50 size. And then you're just restricting the amount of creativity that gives you. But what you'll find is that because you're restricted in all the settings that you can change, do away with those filters. Just go a little bit more simple, and you'll create some amazing shots. And when you're out on a day like this with views like this, it just doesn't get any better. I mean, being outside in the open air is just such a great way of feeling amazing. I just love it so much. It's just brilliant. Well, the sun's come out now, and it's pretty much out all the time. The clouds are clearing. I've had a great time taking these shots on Home Fell. Thanks ever so much for watching. If you like this video, give us it a thumbs up, comment below. I read all the comments, and if you're not subscribed, then please subscribe. And thanks ever so much for all the subscribers. I'm now at 6,500 subscribers, which is fantastic. And my son is trying to make me laugh behind the camera. Not working, Thomas.